Welcome, fellow Americans. This is the American Patriots channel. Many of the decisions of our government just don't make sense. The right answers often seem obvious and as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Yet the government comes up with different answers. Sure, some of the questions that they face are a bit complicated and require some thought. But it's not rocket science. Besides, our government officials have an ample supply of experts to help them out. What is most surprising is when someone provides them with the correct answer and explains the reasoning for that answer in a most understandable way, the government still gets it wrong. They seem determined to continue down the wrong path and make poor decisions. For example, how do we make college affordable? Their answer is provide student loans. Wrong answer. Student loans burden young graduates with enormous debt, just when they are starting out and can't afford it. Not to mention that massive influx of borrowed money has encouraged schools to dramatically increase the cost of tuition, making college even more out of reach. So now we have $1.6 trillion of student loan debt. What a disaster! Young adults can't afford to buy a home, are afraid they can't support a family, and believe that they will never be as well off as their parents. How could the government have been so stupid? So then, what's the correct answer? It is this. Just as with grade school and high school, college and trade school should be provided tuition-free so that all students can afford to attend. But how does the government pay for this? Not with more taxes. That would do more harm than good. Let me answer that question with the next example. How do we make health care affordable? The government has a two-part answer to this question. First, provide insurance through the Affordable Care Act. Sure, these insurance premiums are affordable, but don't get sick or injured because the plans require you to pay thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket expenses. What a joke! The Affordable Care Act is actually unaffordable. And even with this act in place, there are still 28 million Americans with no health care insurance whatsoever. The second part of their answer is even worse. Require emergency rooms to accept patients regardless of their ability to pay. Sure, you can get treatment, but the ER is very expensive. So go there without insurance and you get a free pass to bankruptcy. You may lose your home and your car. Thanks a lot, government. Okay, so what's the correct answer? It can't be done. Say what? That's right, but let me qualify that statement. It can't be done with the cost of health care being as high as it is today. Not even the government, with its massive spending power, can do it. However, there is a way, and it's really quite simple. The healthcare system in the United States provides about the same quality of care as those of other wealthy nations, but at about twice the cost. We are paying about $2 trillion per year more than we should. if we bring our costs in line with those other countries, then we would save $2 trillion each and every year. With that money, we could provide affordable, high-quality health care to every man, woman, and child in America. Coverage that would include all health care needs: medical, dental, eye care, prescription drugs, inpatient and outpatient, preventative care, hearing care, and even nursing home care. Not only that, there would be enough savings left over to provide a free ride to college or trade school to anyone who wanted it. No more student loans. Oh yeah, we're on a roll now. So what else has the government messed up that we can fix? Let's tackle one of the more difficult questions. Difficult not because it's hard to find an answer, but because there's a lot of fear and emotion involved. So bear with me. The issue is gun violence. 45,222 Americans died as a result of gun violence in 2020. The government says, ban assault weapons and ghost guns. Yet again, wrong answer. First of all, most of those deaths were due to suicide. So banning these weapons would do absolutely no good there. Only a tiny fraction of gun deaths are caused by assault rifles or ghost guns. You'd think that when it comes to a life or death issue such as this, that the government would at least come up with a more effective solution. Clearly, our government is unable to honor one of its most important duties, to protect the people and keep us safe. So what should be done about all of the harm that's going on? First and foremost, we need to strongly support the Second Amendment, the right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. They are not the cause of all of this mayhem. The best way to go about reducing gun violence is to keep guns and ammunition out of the wrong hands. That can be accomplished most effectively by focusing in two places: at the point of sale and at the home. To address the point of sale, we need to require a national firearm permit to purchase guns and ammunition, which would include both a mental health screening and a background check. For the home, we need to have firearms secured so that they cannot be stolen or picked up by a child. Taking these steps would save thousands of lives each year. It would take a little effort, but would be well worth it. Next, let's look at poverty and crime, since they often go together. The government provides all sorts of welfare assistance to the poor, including housing assistance, Medicaid, and food stamps, just to name a few. Did the government get the right answer for once? Absolutely not. A person who is receiving welfare will actually lose money if they work, because the government takes away more assistance dollars than they earn from their job. The same goes for marriage. Get married, lose assistance. The government is actually paying people to not get a job, not get married, and stay poor. As bad as this is, encouraging the poor to remain single is causing an even greater tragedy. 60% of children born to unwed mothers live in poverty. These children often attend poorly funded, substandard schools, lack a two-parent household that is so crucial to their development, and are surrounded by the influences of gangs, drugs, and violence. What do you think their chances are of escaping the cycle of poverty and crime? Hear me when I say there is widespread systemic discrimination in America. The target of this discrimination is the poor, and the offender is our government. So what should the government be doing? It's very simple. Use financial incentives to encourage the right behaviors. Get a job, get married, stay in school, and get good grades. And by the way, provide school of choice so that parents can send their children to good schools. Now, let's turn our attention to the hard-working men and women who serve as the backbone of our nation. Have you come to realize that the company that you work for doesn't care about you, that you are just a cog in the machine? Well, I'm sorry to tell you that you are right. The executives of your company have made sure that they receive much bigger raises and bonuses than everyone else, resulting in an income gap that is getting wider and wider. To illustrate this, in the 1950s, the average CEO made 20 times as much as the average worker. Today, they make almost 400 times as much. In effect, executives have been taking more and more of your share of company profits. You are being robbed of the pay that you deserve. So what then has our government done to protect you, the worker, from workplace abuses such as this? Unfortunately, they have made matters worse by enacting right-to-work laws. Martin Luther King Jr. explains what those are, and I quote, "We must guard against being fooled by false slogans, such as right to work. It is a law to rob us of our civil rights and job rights. Its purpose is to destroy labor unions and collective bargaining." Unquote. The government has taken away your voice in the workplace, taken away your ability to stand up against unfair practices and workplace abuses. And when it's time to pay taxes, the government once again favors high earners. Remember the tax code change in 2018? It reduced taxes such that a middle-income family could buy 4 tires for their car with their tax savings, while an upper-income family could buy a brand new luxury car. The way to defend worker rights is straightforward. First, create a national union, one that comes at no cost to the worker and gives them a voice to defend their rights in the workplace. And second, ensure that taxes are levied based on ability to pay. Based on the facts that I have presented today, it's clear that our government is unable to uphold and defend our rights as citizens of this nation. The dysfunction runs so deep that mere voting will do nothing to correct a problem of this magnitude. Then are we to revolt, to overthrow the government with force? No, absolutely not. We, the American people, have the legal right to restore our nation, even when it is as broken as it is today. Quoting from the Declaration of Independence, which is the law of the land, quote, "Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of the rights and freedoms of its citizens, it is the right of the people to alter it, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such a form as to seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness." Wouldn't it be refreshing to go to Washington with the Declaration of Independence in hand and say to all those political hacks, "You've run our country into the ground. Now get up out of those chairs because all of you are fired." Then we, the people, could choose their replacements from those among us, restoring our government to the way that it was meant to be. Can you imagine what it would be like to live in an America whose government is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people? A country of higher learning where all of its young people can go to college or trade school debt-free. A country where everyone can afford health care that they need. A place of safety where the epidemic of gun violence no longer exists. A nation of prosperity where the poor escape poverty. Where workers are paid fairly for their contributions. Do we long to live in that America? We do. Can we live in that America? Oh, yes, we can. Let freedom ring.